A few weeks ago, I recall hearing someone, a young narcissistic lady, say something that struck me: monetize your trauma. My initial reaction was confusion and disbelief. Why are we romanticizing suffering? But then I thought about it and I kind of got the point. I grew up in a chaotic environment and a chaotic culture during turbulent times. Recognizing patterns was crucial for my safety, my family's well-being, and protecting the things I cared about. The ability to recognize patterns, make these mental calculations, and correctly make predictions became a valuable skill. While it's not always correct, being able to see something out of place, identify certain commonalities and differences, seeing when complex events are about to change for the worse, and to make concrete recommendations and take actions was something that was ingrained. Getting away from gun battles that echoes through the streets, avoiding knife fights, knowing what pickpockets look like, seeing when crowds were getting violent, seeing the difference between a friendly bit of rough banter and something getting out of hand kept me alive. In my upbringing, I had an amazing mom who left behind trouble in her past. She was a strong woman who worked hard and used her intellect. She wasn't domineering but still got her own way. Similarly, my dad acted more of a people pleaser. He did not ever use violence of strength to get his own way. Instead, he used logic and honesty to get things done. Growing up with a people pleaser, I learned how some individuals could exploit those who are accommodating. This taught me to be cautious around malicious manipulators but also be an influencer without being domineering. At the same time, my dad's strength lay in his constant quest for self-improvement through conversations and storytelling. My data analysis and influencer training made me who I am professionally, and my management, leadership, and professional style have been heavily influenced by my upbringing. And again, it's my natural style, not a facade. I value authenticity because I grew up in a society that didn't have the time or resources to be fake. Saying that it valued transparency, romanticizes the fact that being honest about certain things was all that people could cognitively afford to do. It was a poor country. Most people literally can't afford to lie. So I learned how to be true to oneself was the norm, and I adopted all these approaches in my professional and personal life: people pleasing to a certain extent, walking away from trouble, influencing where I can, lots and lots of self-improvement, and being honest. It's not because of any ideals or Instagram memes, it's just that was the default behavior of everyone that I grew up with. My point is, these experiences have shaped my psychology, with both positive and negative effects. I acknowledge that I've made money with my brain that experienced all the negative things that have happened to me in the past. Yes, many of these aspects have molded me, but I don't view myself as broken or traumatized. These events as shaping my life, but I would be doing myself a disservice by defining it as trauma. This perspective differs from those who frame themselves as victims due to trauma. Some individuals profit from portraying themselves as special because of their experiences, but in reality, their trauma is not exceptional. They capitalize on their perceived victimhood and market it to the audience. This is problematic because it prevents people from dealing with their trauma in a constructive way. It is essentially a cynical and narcissistic monetization of one's suffering, rather than contributing value to others' lives. Now, here's the kicker. Some people out there are making bank by selling their sob stories and painting themselves as the chosen ones because of their trauma. They're cashing in on their perceived victimhood and marketing it to the masses. It's a problem because it keeps people from facing their own issues head-on. It's a cynical and narcissistic hustle, not a genuine effort to add value to anyone's life. The key difference I must emphasize is that I am a data analyst and manager that has had tough times in my life. They are people who make money by selling their tough times. They aren't very good at anything and in many ways aren't even good communicators. They aren't really trying to help other people and are quantitatively ineffective in changing other people's lives. All they do is get viewers and trauma tourists who use them as some sort of entertainment in their drifting ennui through this horrific internet that exists. A lot of people go through really tough times. A few of us sadly have been through really horrific and traumatic experiences, and I could never compare my life as challenging as it was or suggest that my tough times were equivalent to theirs in any way. On a case-by-case basis, I will try to show levels of empathy and sympathy to people who have had it tough, like me, and people who's had it horrible. My experiences and how I've handled those experiences after the fact have shaped me into an objectively successful career, a prosocial person and a positive in this society. For those that use their lives, especially if it isn't a life with horrific and genuinely traumatic experiences, to make money, they're lost. If all they value is money and their dignity, self-respect and self-efficacy is sacrificed for money, then I hope they are narcissistic enough to never pass down the generational curse to any children. This has been an opinion piece from X, the storyteller.